Have you ever wondered if there are limits to our obligation to follow rules, especially when those rules seem deeply wrong? We often assume that laws must be obeyed for society to function, but what happens when a law itself is fundamentally unjust? The philosophical argument against obeying unjust laws centers on the idea that the legitimacy of a law, and thus our moral obligation to follow it, is not merely derived from its enactment by a recognized authority. Instead, true legitimacy stems from the law's alignment with justice, moral principles, or the common good. When a law falls short of these moral standards, it loses its claim to our unconditional obedience. This perspective often draws from several robust philosophical traditions. Natural law theory, for instance, posits that there are universal, inherent moral principles that stand above man-made laws. From this view, an unjust law is not truly a law at all, famously summarized by the maxim lex injusta non est lex. Similarly, certain social contract theories argue that our obligation to obey laws is conditional upon the state upholding its part of an implicit agreement, which includes safeguarding justice and the rights of its citizens. If the state enacts unjust laws, it breaches this contract, potentially dissolving the citizen's obligation. Furthermore, the emphasis on individual moral autonomy and conscience plays a crucial role. Philosophers like Immanuel Kant highlighted the importance of acting according to one's moral duty, suggesting that one cannot simply delegate moral responsibility to the state. This means that a law demanding an immoral act could compel an individual to choose their conscience over legal compliance. Utilitarian perspectives might also argue against obeying an unjust law if its enforcement leads to a greater overall harm or reduction in societal well-being than its disobedience would. So, how does one philosophically determine if a law is unjust? Key questions include: does the law violate fundamental human rights or the inherent dignity of persons? Does it treat different groups unequally without a morally justifiable reason, creating systemic disadvantage? Does it undermine the common good or fail to uphold the foundational principles of a fair social contract? Does it demand actions that directly contradict one's deeply held, rationally defensible moral convictions? It is important to understand the concept of a prima facie duty, which is a duty that is binding unless it is overridden by another, stronger moral duty. While there is often a prima facie duty to obey the law, this philosophical framework suggests that an unjust law can present a stronger moral imperative to resist. This distinguishes between a law's legal validity, meaning it was properly enacted, and its moral legitimacy, which refers to its inherent rightness. A law can be valid without being legitimate. This nuanced understanding fuels the philosophical underpinnings of concepts like conscientious objection and civil disobedience. Ultimately, the philosophical arguments against obeying unjust laws provide a powerful framework for critical evaluation, inviting us to view legal systems not just as a set of commands, but as moral enterprises. It underscores the individual's enduring moral agency and responsibility to discern and act in accordance with justice, even when it conflicts with the state. This intellectual tool helps us navigate the complex relationship between law and morality, striving always for a more just and ethically coherent society.